Hi, good afternoon, good morning. My name is Matt Poulton. I have the pleasure, hopefully, of talking to you today with regards to the art of the possible, a little bit about automation, what we're seeing in the market, and more importantly, what our customers are demanding from us as a global vendor with over 80,000 customers, and how we're trying to develop solutions to support their needs, especially in the advent of COVID and the changing dynamic of the workforce that we're being faced with today. As mentioned, my name is Matt Poulton. I am a vice president here at Palo Alto, looking after Western Europe and Middle East and Africa. I hope you find the next kind of 10, 15 minutes a little bit informative, and you can take something positive away from it in terms of where the market's going. So, as we kind of know really today, the world has changed fundamentally. Organizations everywhere are going fairly profound digital transformation. And the way that we work, the way that we interact with ourselves, with our colleagues, with our customers, with our stakeholders has changed probably forever. So we as people in the IT and security world must continue to innovate to really serve these stakeholders better. And digital transformation or transformation is one of these huge shifts, which is really defining how we do this. But this transformation creates risk. As we know, we have more data, more devices, which means we have more attack surfaces. I mean, I'm sitting here in my office close to Reading, sitting on a PC, I've got a laptop, I've got a monitor, I've got my iPhone, I've got my iPad, I've got some telecommunication equipment. Is this another office of Palo Alto Networks? Does my company have to protect me? Do we have to protect my house? Do I have to protect the infrastructure? So the number of endpoints is going to grow and it will continue to grow. And this causes a few headaches for CIOs out there. In order for us all to work in this dispersed environment, cloud deployments are being fast-tracked. Organizations are moving to cloud-native security a lot quicker than previously they were anticipating. The way that we provide data to ourselves and our customers and our stakeholders has increased. More and more apps have to be sitting on the cloud. So cloud is really driving a really positive shift in terms of the way that we interact. But cyber criminals, well, they themselves don't sit still. They keep up, and as a matter of fact, they create new ways of extrapolating data, finding vulnerabilities, and whether it's ransomware or denial of service. Cyber criminals also using much more complex ways to avoid detection and also create more advanced threats. And the increase in cyber attacks is not sitting still. Cyber attacks are increasing exponentially. So we face this transformational risk, which is nothing new. It just may be more important now than it was a year and a half ago. So the challenges are significant. And how do we, as providers of security solutions, support our customers? Well, it starts really with being able to deliver coordinated defense. So solutions must be able to not just do one thing. They must be coordinated. They must integrate a lot better, because point solutions and point products, they're just adding more and more complexity and cost to organizations. Hey, we've had to move to the cloud. Hey, we need to spin up an application. Let's go and buy another security solution to do this. It's more cost, it's more complexity, it's more data, it's more alerts, you name it. It's making things a lot harder. But we must, on the other side of the coin, protect this growing set of data and devices without slowing down innovation, without slowing down digitization. And it's a real seesaw of 100% security means limited user action to 100% user interaction means no security. The kind of tightrope that we need to provide to protect versus give the users the ability to interact freely is really, really hard. And we must ensure that security doesn't inhibit digital innovation or growth. But more importantly, these kind of seesaw of delivering security, we have to stay ahead of these complex cyber attacks. Many organizations, sadly, are facing something like 10,000 alerts a day. So the network is endless, as we've just said. The boundaries really are blurred and not hardened anymore like they were when we were all in an office with a hard perimeter and a network and secure cloud environments. We're seeing more and more traffic. What is the traffic? Is it good traffic? Is it bad traffic? Is this something we need to investigate? Is this something suspicious? The amount of alerts that teams are facing and security professionals are facing is growing exponentially, and we really have to do something about it. So to feel confident, we as vendors, we've got to provide solutions that give you visibility. And I sit at home here in my house and I've got a Ring doorbell, I've got a burglar alarm, I've got a car alarm, I've got a connected fire alarm. All of these are doing fantastic things, and I have great visibility into them because I have apps. But when something goes wrong, I want to be able to see, is my fire alarm going off because someone has broken into my house? Is my car alarm going off because I've got a fire? I need visibility across multiple security controls. And within an IT environment of 10, 20,000 users, that's even more important. And every security professional out there has said they must improve their visibility and get better understanding of where the vulnerabilities are. But all of this data and all this visibility brings a lot of information. So we must be able to trust what we have. You know, we talk about false positives a lot, a term that everyone knows. We talk about phishing instances. Is it something we should worry about, or is this just something that our security tools will pick up and deal with? So we must constantly have the ability to see the data that we've got and trust it, because a lot of errors and cloud configuration or security breaches are due to human errors of just not having the right information at hand quickly and flexible. And we must operate securely across these environments because technology is everywhere. The majority of organizations have over 25 security tools deployed. So you've bought the right solution to do the right job, but you simply can't cope because you have too many tools across too many environments. So to kind of pause there, we as resellers, providers, vendors have really got to provide best of breed solutions, because point solutions really aren't enough. They don't scale. We've seen a kind of 10, 15 year shift where organizations want to work with a partner that can provide security across their cloud, across their network, across their IoT estate, across their hybrid estate, across their endpoints. Point solutions do not communicate together. We need to provide 360 degrees of threats. It's all about the data, but it's all about good data. It's like being at home. We need water to survive, but we must be able to channel it into where we want it to be. We must ensure that the water isn't polluted. We must ensure the right people have access to have it at the right times. And we must ensure it doesn't get stolen by other people. Very much the same as data. It's all about the data, but it must be good data. We must be able to make decisions on where this data comes from. And it goes back to the visibility point. I kind of like what's happened in COVID in a way, because the cloud adoption has given us a chance to make security even better, I would say. This gives us a chance to kind of wipe the slate clean and produce good processes to allow our SOX teams to automate better. So baked in security from day one. And with the advent and evolution of artificial intelligence, machine learning, which, let's just be honest, is just the machine and us automating aspects, it gives us a chance to kind of now eradicate these repetitive tasks. Let the technology do the things for you that previously you would have to do. And this in time means that we as humans, we as IT security professionals, can do the jobs that we're employed to do. I don't need to sit there in my secure operations center, my SOC, and spend 6 hours a day looking at phishing instances. I can use the technology, I can use machine learning and artificial intelligence to do this for me, which means our mean time to respond is a lot shorter. So to summarize, best of breed products aren't enough. We must give customers the ability to scale. The data is really important. It must be good data. We have a chance now to kind of rewrite the way that technology is deployed and automate lots of things, which means our time to respond is quicker and we eradicate the human error. So with this endless boundary, automation is really key. And it's really the only way that you can cope and scale to where you want to be. So what's the kind of Palo Alto vision? What gives us the ability to sit here and talk to you about our vision, our strategy, and why we believe it's better? Well, it kind of comes down to a couple of things. So as I mentioned earlier on, I sit in the space which is Cortex, and Cortex within Palo Alto Networks, our vision is very much around automation. What can we do to do things quicker and better for you as an IT security professional? This starts really with preventing everything you can. We have best of breed endpoint or extended detection and response capabilities. But the reality is you can't prevent everything because the network's changing. And there are going to be times where attacks are going to get in. And if anybody says, I can 100% protect you from every attack, they're lying. And there is no silver bullet. So please be realistic in it. So the things that you can't protect, you must be able to detect and investigate very fast. And you do that via automation and grouping incidents together and stitching stuff together and becoming smarter every single day. And that's our vision within Palo Alto Networks, is to prevent everything. And if you can't prevent it, automate it and investigate it. And we do that by having two product sets or two kind of sales motions, two areas that we focus on. The first one is this thing called XDR. So a lot of you have been in the endpoint space. You've probably seen the change in the way that the endpoint, this bit here, has changed over the last few years. We saw the advent of all these new glossy vendors that said, hey, signatures are dead. You don't need to worry about signatures. We'll use machine learning and all this flashy stuff to basically ensure your endpoint is protected. And then ransomware came along, and actually the endpoint was even more so important than it was previously. And it was very important because it was causing a lot of downtime and a lot of money and a lot of focus away from other areas. We see the network increasing with things like SASE and SD-WAN. The network is still very important. We see cloud out there, organizations providing applications to the cloud. We see IoT. We see all of these things being very important. So endpoint is an area that isn't going to go away, but to protect organizations better, we must have the ability as security professionals to group all of this together. And this is what XDR does. So we're very fortunate here at Palo Alto because, of course, we have our firewall business, which has been around for 10 plus years, and we have 70, 80,000 customers. So we have great visibility of the network. We have phenomenal endpoint technology, best of breed. Go and look at the MITRE reports from how Cortex XDR, which is our product, has performed in the MITRE attack framework and the amount of detection it can do. We have our technology in Prisma that really is leading edge in terms of cloud protection. And then, of course, we also have the ability using our data lake to ingest, so suck in third-party data that feeds it all into this one central place so that you can look at threat detection and integration quickly, more securely, and basically automate a lot of what you do. So to go back to this Gartner term, XDR basically is extended detection and response, which is stitching together all of this really important infrastructure, data, endpoint, network traffic, cloud workloads, APIs, Kubernetes into one place and giving you the chance to automate a lot of the incident response so you can prevent on multiple attack vectors, but you can respond securely and quickly and more rapidly. So our Cortex XDR solution is all around bringing this into one place and giving you the chance to be a lot more effective. But it's not just about that. It's very much around what else can we do in terms of the automation journey. And for those of you who've been in the IT industry for quite some time, you may have heard this terminology called SOAR, security, orchestration, and response. And SOAR really has only been around 4 years. And what it is creating playbooks, which is a series of processes and controls that take manual processes into a workflow that is very quick and very efficient. So you, the human or the IT user, only need to get involved where you need to. So the automation piece is creating these playbooks that does things for you. And then what we do is we then go and create case management and dashboards that gives you the visibility so you can see what's going on from the automation perspective. And we allow teams to collaborate very, very quickly. And this is a huge shift. SOAR has gone from being a toddler 3 years ago to being a very mature kind of adult in a very short period of time. It's evolved very rapidly. And so the SOAR part, the S of security, really is now kind of de facto. For those of you who mentioned that have been in security for a long time, cast your mind back to maybe 10, 15 years ago when encryption first came around. It was a deep, dark art. Customers were concerned about encrypting data. How do I get access to it? And now it's just seen as just happens. We just encrypt all our data. We encrypt our communications. We encrypt the way data at rest, data in motion, data in use. SOAR has very much gone that journey over the space of 3 years. The security element of SOAR, we can automate phishing. We can automate incident response. You can automate the manual things that your team were doing in seconds. A good example is a before and after. You had all of these processes that could go anywhere depending upon what happened, and you had humans involved here, humans involved here. We needed a team of people to get involved here. All of this stuff, just to do a phishing incident response, for example, could take an hour. And when you've got 10,000 of these a day, you simply don't have the time in the day. With SOAR tools, it creates a workflow that does this instantaneously for you. Excuse me, user error, can't even automate this. Creates a workflow and a process. This takes this down to seconds. So the before and after of using a secure tool, a SOAR tool, is huge from an ROE perspective, return on effort perspective. We take things that took hours to do into seconds and save hours, days, a month in terms of incident response. But the automation journey I touched upon, we have seen XDR from a protection perspective is now very mature. Organizations don't just want to buy endpoint detection response. They want to buy extended detection response. And if we can't protect and detect and respond, we must automate it. But the automation journey, as I mentioned, isn't just about security anymore. It's around challenging yourself. What can else be? What can also be automated? And using the assets and the people that you want to be used in the right way. I liken SOC engineers as Formula One drivers. You have a SOC, traditional SOC, lots of screens, lots of things going on, lots of important things. And your SOC engineer or analyst comes in every day, looks at these screens and can't do the thing that he wants to do because he's too busy doing these manual tasks, and he's got thousands of these a day. Challenge yourself that if we could automate those, what else could you do? What's the value that you can provide? What is the art of the possible? And Cortex XSOAR really provides the art of the possible. And over the last 6 months, we've seen huge use cases in automation reach far beyond traditional security. Everything from how do you provision a laptop? Yeah, of course, security have to get involved. They have to deploy the security tools, but there's a whole big process before there around purchasing the laptop, delivering it, couriers. All this can be automated. What happens if someone leaves an organization? We need to not just revoke his security privileges, we need to revoke lots of other privileges from a badge perspective, whatever it may be. Cloud, we're seeing more and more challenges in cloud, not on the fact that cloud doesn't work, these AWS or Azure or GCP containers don't work, but if they're misconfigured correctly, it hits downtime, or we have security, or we have ports exposed. Cloud configuration is a huge area that we can automate. Impossible traveler sounds like a silly thing, but if I log on today from my house in Reading and tomorrow from Singapore when COVID's hit, it's kind of a bad thing. And that provokes a huge investigation process, but this can be automated. Checking of customer information, this can be automated. But what I'm trying to say to you is the art of the possible automation is way beyond. So your job is to challenge yourself to what can be automated, because here at Cortex and within Palo Alto, we have hundreds, if not thousands, of playbooks that automate workflow and process for you, our customers, to make your incident response, to make your response times, to make your mean time to respond a lot quicker than you can imagine. Customers need better SecOps. Products driven by good data, better analytics, and better end-to-end automation mean that you can have a huge reduction in alerts. You can have a huge reduction in the volume of alerts you're investigating, because, as I've said, Cortex XDR groups together your network, groups together your endpoint, groups together your ITT, groups together your third-party data into one place, so you have fewer investigations. You have therefore a decrease in alerts. We can reduce the cost of ownership by bringing tools together, and we can give you the ability to automate mundane aspects like vulnerability management, like phishing, like account provisioning, and free up your time to do more that you could ever imagine in a SOC team. So really it is a question of being better together. Challenge your customers in what they're doing in terms of automation in their environment, from an incident response, from a prevention technology capability, because XDR has the ability to automate lots of the elements that they're doing and allow you to not to deploy multiple solutions anymore that 5 years ago you had to deploy to protect this threat landscape. And then from an automation perspective, on top of that, challenge yourself in terms of what you can do. And SOAR tools really give you the ability to automate many aspects of the SOC journey and provide huge demonstrable value, whether or not it's from a monetary perspective in terms of time to respond, whether or not it's a people aspect in terms of allowing your people to do the jobs that they're employed to do, or whether or not it's from a incident response perspective, that it gives you better visibility of what is going on within your infrastructure. So hopefully that was an interesting kind of 20 minutes. We tried to summarize and take you through the use cases and challenges, what we're seeing, but then more importantly, how our technology solves this integration and this automation journey. And I hope everyone enjoyed it. Stay safe and look forward to speaking soon.